Hey, everybody. Welcome to our post-party panel discussion. I am really excited about this. I've got some network experts here with me today. We just finished up an hour-long discussion about many different topics as it relates to creating connection inside of organizations, communities, et cetera. And so one of the topics that we wanted to do a panel discussion about is how do you bring in more serendipitous interaction into a remote world, into a remote community, into a place where people are not colliding physically? And we know that serendipity is really important to innovation. We know that it's, Toy Story, Steve Jobs said that the most innovative place at Pixar was the bathroom because it created these serendipitous interactions. It created these new connections that are so important to community health, right? So we've got this amazing panel here, and we've got about 10 minutes of discussion just to talk about what are some of the things that you're doing to help create these serendipitous collisions inside of your groups, communities, organizations. So with that, I'm going to start kicking it off over to Aaron Kirk at StreamB. He's going to share some thoughts. And then after that, we're going to have the rest of this group kind of jumping in for the next 10 minutes. Aaron.
Yeah, so over at StreamB, I think what I've really learned over the course of my experience doing community management is that really when it comes down to it in the online space, don't curb the conversation. In so many ways, we try to meet things where the community is. If you have a community of streamers, you talk about streaming. If you have a community of pharmacists, you talk about pharmacy. If you have a community of business owners, you're talking about business. But that's not what people always want to talk about. That's not how conversation naturally flows. And more importantly, if you want to get serendipity, if you want to get these random moments of happiness and joy and innovation and collaboration, it's so important to have spaces like you talked about, the bathroom at Disney and stuff like that, where the conversation's free, where anything can kind of happen. And of course, you have rules about your community and what's okay to be spoken about. But within those confines, anything's the goal. Anything is sort of the play area for people's imaginations and the conversations. And I think that's really important.
Hey, so I'll jump in. I'll just jump in right there. I'm John, and what I say about serendipity and getting those events and getting those people to really come together is by creating very targeted and focused areas within your community and really limiting that scope. Whether it's having like an Ask the Expert session around a specific topic and that's not necessarily the normal within your organization or your community, and bringing these people together around those conversations. When people join those type of conversations that are around a specific topic, then they start making those connections with other people that are very interested in that hyperly focused topic. This is also a good example of use of user groups, right? By creating regional or topical user groups allows your people within your company to join the specific section of your community, this group of the community around a very micro topic. When then other people that micro topic, if you have a bigger community, right, and they join and they connect with each other. Hell, you're from Ireland. I'm from Ireland. I didn't realize that on your profile. Yeah, I don't really want to say that stuff because I just joined, right? And but then they connect, and that's that serendipity. They say, oh, I'm actually I'm at this company. I'm at this company, and then they have that conversation, and the next you know, they're having lunch, and you're helping to join and organize an in-person event with those things. So one organization, we had almost 40 around the world, right? Where we're meeting in individual cities. We had people volunteer space. We got a leader. We'd send them some beer. We'd send them a boat poster with our logo on it. We'd send them some t-shirts, and you're the group leader for Cork, Ireland. Right, and they meet once a month at the pub, and they say, put the poster up and take a picture, and we're good. I'll send you some more beer next month, right? No problem. And that allows for those relationships to be built and have those serendipitous relationships. I think is having focused content, getting down to the really detail, allow people to connect.
I would like to break in and actually talk about one of my near and dear examples of this. So I work for a consumer technology company called Wise Labs, and we've been around for a little over 4 years now. And we need people to help us beta test our products. Well, one of our very first beta tests way back in 2018, we launched in October of 2017. We ended up getting this group of people who got super into this shared goal of testing our Wise campaign. And they started messaging each other late at night. They started sending each other good morning messages. Every day they were talking to each other about their experiences testing Wise campaign. And eventually, as a group, they came over to us and said, hey, so we love what you're doing, big fans, but we're a little bit worried about the timelines that you have going for this product that is a bit more complex than what you've already done before. And we said, we appreciate you talking to us about this. That's really kind of you. And then they offered, can we do extra testing as a group? Do you want to send us stuff earlier than everybody else? We know it'll be buggy, but we really want to work with you. We really believe in this mission that you have going here. And so this ended up starting, and I am pausing my notifications. I don't know if you can hear that, sorry. This started this really beautiful friendship. I am still in contact with all of these people years later. And that kind of, for me, founded this idea that I have where I really like bringing small groups of people together to work on a common goal, a common discussion, a common something where they are now a team. Because as soon as you set not just something out there and you try to attract whoever will come, but if you have an established group and they're working together, that is a really great recipe for that serendipity, in my opinion.
Love that. Can I chime in now too? That's a really great example. I was thinking of some of the things that we've done as well. And that's engaging with brands like outside of our own industry, even because when we talk about our communities, these are human beings who bond and connect over topics that are outside of what we represent. And so we've engaged and had really fun engagements with, we like recently we gave, I'm at SEMrush and we recently gave Wendy's a hard time. And then we ended up having this really fun like conversation with Wendy's, but then those audiences saw that interaction and could say, oh, I love Wendy's, or like, I can riff on this too. And it was a nice bond to show that SEMrush doesn't only talk about necessarily digital marketing or something like that. We also like hamburgers and Frosties and have a sense of humor. And then another side of this too, and I don't know how many of you guys feel like this, but as part of the community, I feel like I like to get to know my community individually. So then I can start to just like what you were just saying, Gwendolyn, like getting like these small groups of people together with similar interests. So if I know I have some of my community that really likes to bake, well, maybe the next time we send out swag, we can send them this, or maybe we do like a fun webinar around something around SEO and make it like a baking theme. So that way we can bring those people together on something else that they like besides us or besides digital marketing or something. So those have been really fun ways to, make those serendipitous connections too.
Diana, I love that. And that is a core piece of what I do with 76 Forward in Indianapolis. So my member engagement meetings that I have, there's a section for notes, and that's where I'm putting everything that I'm hearing from them that don't necessarily have to do with business. Like, is someone a plant mom? Does someone drive a Tesla? Well, we have 8 people here who all drive Teslas. And then, I'll shoot them all a message like, okay, here's Tesla Club. You guys can talk about your vanity plates and, things like that. And so connecting outside of core business strategy, I think is important. I also love the idea of focusing groups together and getting people on a journey. So a program that we run is a sprint series. So we'll do a sprint series on finance, or we'll do a sprint series on marketing. So if you're like, man, I really need marketing help, you'll join a program that is multiple weeks. And by the end of it, you now have a group of people who have gone through this the same. And now you're like this class of marketing sprint. So offering up programming that you can be from all different industries, but you're looking for help in one area. That's been helpful for us to create those serendipitous opportunities.
Yeah, I think, Paul, at Circle CI, one of the things that we've done to kind of generate those serendipitous moments is to actually have the conversation start out with a fun fact, right? Just whatever conversation you're having with somebody you haven't met before, pick a fun fact, let them know some fun fact about your background. And that often generates those kind of serendipitous connections that you're talking about, where people are, I mean, to John's point, you're trying to have a conversation about a specific topic, but it gives you a chance to have that little bit of one-on-one connection up front.
Yeah, the fun fact, but the people overlook the profile, right? Having the ability to add information, to have a good profile, and not having your profile be an afterthought, right? It's just like an egg picture and nothing's in there, right? Have like a profile completion bar, right? Or ask for people to fill out their profile and have a feel for, tell me some fun information about you, add a family photo, and because people look at the profile and people don't think they do, but I'll tell you they do. Right? So don't think about the profile and adding those areas that allows them to, connect. People are afraid to let people follow them and stuff. So, allow people to follow the people in your community, be able to develop those relationships. That way you build those members into like rock star type of people, and they're your evangelists, right? They have, 50% of the community is following this one guy, right? That's a good indicator. You should probably be having calls with this one guy and sending him some t-shirts or something, and making him a leader within your community. So don't forget about those things.
It's so true, because all of my profiles have like a little wine glass emoji next to my name, and I cannot tell you how many times people connect to me because they know I already talk about digital marketing and SEO. And then they're like, yeah, so I had this great XYZ wine and I just knew you were the right person to talk to about, or something like that. Like we bond over such a variety of things just because there's that emoji next to my name.
I agree with everyone that they're saying, just kind of be open and allow those conversations and the company culture to also be connected to the business goals and outcomes. I'm Maria, and I build community in tech and open source and data. And although we have events, that are very formal with webinars and informational education and all of this, I find that those conversations that are just allowed, that just allow people to connect and talk are the ones where a lot of serendipity happens. So if we allow for some of those conversations where you can gather and it doesn't have to be formal, then we can also create some magic. Thank you for listening.
If I could jump in. So what you were saying, yes, I agree with that magic and allowing the time. So to touch on a couple different things, because everybody had such great stuff. We allow extra time, and the topics that we have in some of our meetups I call them conversation starters. So that's just to get in there, and they know ahead of time. So if you're an introvert, you've got time to kind of percolate that, and you know what you're going to say before you get in, but you could go down any rabbit hole you want while you're there. And we found that that's been really helpful. With the profiles and people not, just keeping that androgynous head. At one of the companies I worked for, we switched it out to something really goofy looking. So people were super aware that they had this crazy cartoon character unless they switched it out. And so that kind of startled people who were all very, staid finance people, let's say, and then all of a sudden they had, a duck. So we find that works as well. And not having that canned profile, just really encouraging that. So yeah, I hear you on that. That's always a battle.
Yeah, the in-person event, connecting like a little in-person event will go a long way away, right? We used to always like glom on to whatever my company's like conference was, like get a booth there, get a stand, something like a poster and try to go there and then, go find a bar or go find a pizza place. Or I rented out a video game arcade one time and like made people on the community, they had to join up and then they had to sign up for this private groups and they had to be approved. And then once they got on this private group, there was like a PDF they could print out with their profile on it and their name and it. So they printed this piece of paper and they came to this arcade and they came in and everybody, there was iPad giveaway and a couple phones and, some training and all the games were turned on for free and I had food and, stuff like that. And it was right near like when there was like a Dreamforce happening. So I knew a lot of people were going to be in San Francisco and, did it at the same time. And so in-person events, they're coming back. Don't forget about them.
I would like to circle back to the profile thing because a lot of these examples that people are giving are very clearly your own platform that you're managing or something that you have a lot of control over. We have a lot of different kinds of communities at WISE, and one of them is actually Facebook groups. So when talking about having information from the profile, that actually can be really risky depending on the kind of platform that you're using, because Facebook is so personal and it has like all your stuff, your family photos, your friends, your posts, your politics. And so that can actually be a little bit of a backfire thing. So while we really encourage people to fill out their profiles like on our forum and our Discord, like all these other areas, we actually have to put a guideline in place in our Facebook community about not bringing in stuff from these external profiles because it's so personal and it can get such a big problem of people picking fights about unrelated things. And so it's interesting as you look at how can we get people to share appropriate levels of information without maybe people going digging and finding things that would make others uncomfortable.
It's a huge difference between owned and earned communities, I call, right? You have your own communities where you own it. I have my vanilla or my higher logic or my Koros community, whatever it may be. Or I run my stuff on Discord, I run my stuff on Slack, I run my stuff on Facebook, Twitter, and it definitely rules change. They definitely rules change when you get into that social aspect, when you don't own the platform. And that is why many large enterprises have moved away from running communities on those platforms. Because controlling it can be a legal problem, can come to problems. There's shifting tides with the platform itself and its, instance or legality. And so you'll see more and more enterprise level companies moving away from, they're still on there, but it's not their priority. It's more on a soft touch type of stuff. And if the users respond and talk to each other, that's great. And the social media team posts their thing on there, but they're not running the programs. They're not running the type of investment they were in the past on those type of services, unless it's a developer stuff, and that changes a lot.
Wow, such great insight, y'all. I really appreciate this conversation. I think we covered a lot. And I think that's a great place to end, is a couple things to think about. You might over architect the serendipitous interactions and it might backfire on you, to your point, Gwendolyn. So to kind of bring this all together, a couple things that I was hearing that I'm taking away from this is, one, you've really got to dial in your mission, because your mission is what gathers people, your mission, your vision, what you're doing. And then when you have that group of people who are passionate about what you're doing, you cannot discount creating space for personal connection. But don't create too much space, to your points, to the end here, is you do still have to have boundaries. And that's what we're so good at, is you have to be able to hold those boundaries, because it's those boundaries that allow these serendipitous interactions to flourish instead of backfire. So with that, I want to say, guys, thank you so much. This is fantastic. Hope to see you all at the next event. We'll catch y'all later.